So as we all know, the season skills that have been added to certain heroes have overall been a net positive for a good majority of the heroes. Now today we're not going to be talking about ones like, oh, I don't know, Smokey and such, where a lot of these heroes' abilities just kind of make them go better. Like, I'm not ever saying in this video that this is not a good ability. What we're going to be talking here today are those unique heroes that don't necessarily get used as much, that actually got a huge buff in the form of their season ability, making them potentially more viable or part of certain team compositions. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's talk about some of these heroes just like Temesia right here that have gotten even better because of their season skill. This is a perfect spot to start is a hero like Temesia. Typically, you use her against the Necro Draken, Dream Realm. It's one of the few places where she's truly useful. She does have some usefulness in PvP team compositions, but her Bloodless Blade is pretty awesome. This right here in battle increases the physical damage taken by adjacent enemies by a certain percentage. This effect, of course, cannot stack, and the higher you go on your season resonance, the higher this percentage goes. Now, one thing that's interesting to note, if you guys actually checked out the notes and paid attention to what we were talking about yesterday on the hot fixes, don't know exactly what changed with it, but you can see right here, fix an issue where the skill Bloodless Blade inaccurately increased heroes damage dealt. My guess is the way that is worded is she was actually doing a better buff to the heroes than was actually intended. So it may or may not be still good, but this is what I'm talking about with some of those heroes you might not have looked at that actually have a really cool ability. Just flat putting her on a physical damage dealing team is going to increase everybody's physical damage, especially when dealing that damage to someone like a boss. And a lot of these abilities are not hero specific. As you guys can see here with Brutus, Bloodless Blade is a seasonal ability for him as well. Does the same thing, but it's pretty interesting. If you guys ever saw what it looked like in combat, you might have actually missed it. I'm going to actually throw him in this team right here so you can see it. These heroes, and you know what? I might as well throw Temesia in too so you can see the double whammy action here. Let's just do something like that. You'll notice they have this red like aura around them. This is the aura that is essentially making those targets take additional damage. So if you have a very heavy physical damage dealing team, something like this could actually pay off for you, because that aura is not just on one hero, but that aura does mean you have more flexibility on your team if you're looking for that specific buff to be able to utilize it. Now, a lot of people do have Brutus, so you might not be using Temesia as much, but remember, if you have a wave or something that is your team is very physical damage based, throwing in a Temesia might actually be something worthwhile if you've already built her for Dream Realm. Another one that's interesting is Florbell's Mark of Agony. It increases the damage dealt to a target by 11% for 3 seconds after dealing damage to that target with a normal attack. Again, this can potentially be a solid one that works really good against bosses. The fact that it says this effect can't stack, I don't know if that means this ability like Mark of Agony can't stack with the blade one, the Bloodlust Blade that we were just talking about on the other heroes, or if it means with another hero that is using Mark of Agony. Again, this is a flat damage taken instead of physical or magic, so slotting in Florbell on some teams, especially against bosses, might actually net you a net positive if you need a debuffer that's also going to potentially deal some damage. Another one that can do that ability as well is Leica, and Leica's interesting in the fact that she also provides buffs to a lot of her allies as well, attack speed especially, which could be really interesting. If you're already running her on a team such as like a DNL composition, this is just additional increased damage done to a specific target, which could be pretty solid. This is a hero you're probably not gonna have. Scarlita, though, increases the haste by 8 for all deployed allies if they are alive 10 seconds into the battle until the end of battle. Increases the damage dealt by all deployed allies, it sounds like that includes summons as well, by 8% if they are alive 40 seconds into the battle. And you can see right here, it goes all the way up to 10 haste and 15% additional damage dealt. So this is why Scarlita's actually been slotted into like Skyclops and stuff like that, certain Dream Realm bosses especially, because she's also providing a ton of stats. I mean, she does a ton already, and this just makes her do even better buffing of your team. So again, if you're looking for those types of buffs, she's an absolute option to pick now, even if she's not super high quality on your account. Similarly, a hero that really saw buff from this Heart of Unity ability is Lucius. Lucius is actually a really good survivability tool, especially if you're really needing that on free-to-play or early game accounts. His ultimate, of course, provides shields and such. He uses healing power to restore HP, and then on top of that, he does have some interesting abilities, and the fact that he can also buff the team up. So consider Lucius if you need both a combination of survivability and team buffing. He's an awesome option in the Song of Strife season. Surprisingly enough, this is actually one hero I did not expect to get something good. Lamont has that same exact ability, so a super budget version, I'm going to use it on my Mauler meme team, would be Lamont as well, because Lamont has that same ability, which is pretty interesting and not a hero you would typically use, but if for some reason the game is just giving you a ton of copies, he is an option. Now, sadly, most heroes get something that specifically buffs themselves or provides a shield or creates illusions or gives them a shield when they do something. This is the one hero, and the main reason why I even decided to make and talk about these season skills, Satrana. This is a hero that never gets built because there's just so many good A levels in the Maulers that who's gonna have time to build this hero? But it's actually one of my main builds right now because her season skill is interesting. Arcane Focus. In battle, increases the magic damage taken by adjacent enemies. Who does magic damage? Alsa, Odie. Two of the best Dream Realm damage dealers currently, at least before the Endless version where, you know, Corrin and Merrily might take back over. But increasing the amount of magic damage taken could be absolutely game breaking. So I'm trying to build this hero to a point that lets her survive in battle. The biggest issue with this hero is she is a magic damage dealer, but she is a melee magic damage dealer, which is kind of interesting. It's hard to say. She does have some other pretty interesting abilities. Ignite Passions grants sparks to allies within 2 tiles when the battle starts. When Satrana or allies with sparks deal damage to an enemy 3 times, the target gets burned, dealing additional damage, which again is really cool. And then there's some other abilities with it. I really need to get her Legendary Plus because this will give her more damage reduction, which is absolutely huge. Her Mythic Plus isn't anything like super important or anything. It's kind of just basically just, you know, buffs her ability. She does grant the effect to a nearby ally when 1 or more heroes is ignited, though. The problem with that is usually she's in melee range and not usually in Alsa range from my experiences, but that could be another big buff there. And then Enhanced Force at Supreme Plus. Vixen rushes cooldowns removed when all enemy heroes are ignited or when a total of 5 enemy heroes are ignited. So that's kind of it's interesting to say the least. But this right here is one of the best looking season abilities, and I haven't found it on anybody else. I am gonna have to go back and just double check. I feel like this is very unique unless it's on a hero I just haven't unlocked. Let me double check that right now. I mean, I just went through and looked at every hero, and we have like every hero unlocked besides DNL, and this hero right here seems to have a very unique skill. So I'm actually going to try to build her up and see how she turns out potentially against boss waves. Heck, maybe even against, maybe if she's fully built, she can be useful in AFK battles in some sort of Alsa Soren type of team. That would be really cool as well. We'll have to see what type of damage Soren deals. Most likely physical, but you never know. We'll have to see how that turns out. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. If you've had any of these season skills be a huge difference on your account, let me know in the comments down below. If we missed any that you thought are pretty game-changing to the way you can build teams, whether they're buffers or something like that, let me know as well, and I'll see you guys next time.